really excited about this one. I've got all the energy in the world to talk about motivation. I can't wait. It's right off the hook. It's popping. Are you ready for this one? Because you're about to go insane with all of the energy we're about to pump into your body. Get ready. We're the Unpanderers.
It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning. This podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. All right. Well, I'm Dan.
I'm Nick, folks.
Yep. We're the
Unpanderers.
Yes.
Whew.
And
It's hard to do an episode some nights, you know?
Yeah, I feel like lately I've lost a lot of motivation. Like I don't have any goals. Like I have goals, but they have taken so very, very long to accomplish that I don't even think they're realizable.
Interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, this one's about motivation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a definition?
Do I have a definition of motivation?
Did you?
I thought you were the definition guy. I'm not really.
I am. It's a noun. It's the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. The general desire or willingness of someone to do something. That makes sense to me. Motivation. It's really one of those things that, like, I don't know, you can make a six-figure career out of screaming about with like an earpiece in to an audience of hundreds. It's also something that, like, is a word you throw around when you're laying around on the couch.
And you don't feel like doing something. It's an
Yeah.
excuse. Procrastination, motivation. I'm in search of things.
Guess what? I'm gonna cut to the chase. I know what the answer is.
She's not gonna lose 10
Motivation.
pounds.
Yeah, that baby's staying.
Wow. Wow.
I went. No, I was going to say motivation is momentum.
Yeah.
I 100% think it is.
It's so.
Mhm.
My wife was actually talking about exercising, and she wants to get a trainer, and like, she feels like it's more motivating to have someone yell at you. And I was just like, I'm not spending money, like me personally, to have someone tell me to do what I already know to do. What I needed was time. I told her that. Like, if I had time, I could choose to do what I wanted to do. And then I'd build up, a routine. And then after 3 weeks, the routine becomes kind of norm. And then the norm just grows into whatever you feel like doing inside of the bubble that you're searching for.
I kind of agree with you, but I will say this: as someone who's gotten into working out, I work out 6 days a week now for like an hour each day, an hour plus.
Yeah.
And I feel weird when I don't. Like, I actually enjoy it. I embrace the pain of working out. I do it, I guess, because I like the way it makes me look, et cetera, et cetera. But more like, I just love going into that
Routine.
discomfort.
Yeah.
A little bit. But you have to push so hard that you feel that awfulness. And if you can push right into it, you just keep pushing on it and keep pushing on it and keep pushing on it. Eventually, you're done. You did something.
There was, back in college, there was a short period of time before I broke my ankle, that they had this track that was above the basketball courts, and I would go there and run. So, like, for like a solid month, I would just run, and you.
This is crazy. I know the track.
Yeah.
We walked past that. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's weird because, like running, like once you get to a certain point, it's easy to just maintain pace. and then you constantly, like, you're burning calories, so you lose body mass, which makes it easier. Your
To run
aerobics go
more.
up. You're able to
And
just
you
keep going, and then you, like, your burst of speed is just way way better.
Well, and keep this in mind. We've talked about this before. It's easier for people in shape to work out because your body's better able to do all these things. You weigh less when you run more. So guess what you can do more of? Run.
Mm-hmm.
Haha. That's why I love seeing fat people running. I'm
Positive
like,
feedback.
damn. No, dude, when I see fat people run, I'm like, oh my God.
Honor.
A, I hate running. B, that's got to be harder for them to run than me to run. And B, oh my God, they're doing it. Jesus Christ, I hate it. Good for you, dude. Good for you. That sucks.
One of the most boring things in the world to do is run.
It is tedious. And it's weird how anyone who does it, if you keep doing it, you just get better at it. Like you literally will see results almost no matter who you are. Like you will run faster or farther. Like if you keep it up for weeks at a time, like it's not like it works for some people. It doesn't work for other people. It's just like you keep practicing, you keep doing it, you will get better at it. And it's a weird thing because you'll start to see the results. And then all of a sudden you want to see more results. You want to keep going. It's
Until
easier
age
to
hits you,
keep going.
and then you fade slowly
Well,
and painfully.
I haven't gotten there yet, but working there.
Yeah. You feel like, well, obviously there's like a positive feedback thing where, like, when you exercise, you get dopamine, you get the release, you get what, serotonin afterwards,
Yep.
melatonin, you sleep
Serotonin,
better,
melatonin.
you
Yeah.
feel
Woo.
different. You are a different person because your chemical makeup is different.
Hell yeah, you bang better too. Let's let that be noted, folks. You bang way better.
Yeah. How often? Never mind.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into
Stored up energy.
oftenicity.
So you're like a battery, just
Yep.
storing that up.
Woo!
But do you feel like there's an oscillation to your motivation? Like you go ebb and flow to it?
Yeah, for the most part. Like, I have one or two exercises I always start with, and then I do my workout totally different every day. But it's always a shoulder lift with simple 8 pound weights, and I just all the way out, and I do it like 25, 30 times. It just works your shoulders. And when I'm doing the very first exercise, so the very first thing, it's when my body's like saying, "No, this is the day you should take off. This is terrible. Stop. This isn't your day. The energy's not there." And you can push through it and then it becomes a normal workout. But there's also days where you're like, shit, I'm flying through this. Like you're ripping them, and you're ready to go. So I think there's a feeling that can stop your motivation. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but like it's the same as a runner's wall. Like if you start running and you're like, I don't feel like running today, you can quit right there. But if you push past that, I think like you kind of just do it. Does that make sense?
It does. Why do you think that happens?
Because your body, it's a discomfort thing. I think your body doesn't want to change its medium. Your body doesn't want to change what it's doing. Your body's telling you,
Changing
hey,
your
I'm not in the
momentum.
mood.
Yeah.
Yes, your
But you gotta,
momentum,
like,
very
set
much
up your
so.
velocity, get moving.
Yes. Yeah, because that's the hardest part. I mean, once you're working out and you've been working out for 25 minutes and you've dedicated an hour, like, guess what? You're already 25 minutes in. You already friggin' did some hard shit. Like, just keep going. At this point, you're halfway done. You're already sweating. You're already working. Go for it. Same with running. Like, can you imagine if you put on the running shoes, you went to where you're going to run, you started running, you did like 4 laps, and you're like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not doing the full 20 today. You already did fucking 4 laps. You already drove there. You already put on the running shoes. Just finish it. Like, there's a point where it's easier to finish than it is to quit. And I think you have to get to that point. Otherwise, like, if you're sitting on the couch looking at your running shoes, it's way easier to quit, right? Because you haven't done anything towards it. There's no momentum built. Like, you're looking at your running shoes and you're like, not feeling it today. It's kind of windy. It's indoor track. Yeah, but it's windy.
So, yeah, it's a little frigid out there. A little frosty.
Yeah.
So, how does that apply to things that are either abstract or indefinite? It's like there's no solid goal, which is what happens when you get older and you have these things that are kind of like, it's
They're
a
long term.
nuanced kind of icky mess of crap and
Well, give me an
bullshit.
example. Let's say paying down a mortgage or something, or something that's like a 10-year goal, or working at a job you hate because after 4 years you're established enough where you're going to be able to do this, you're going to be able to do this. The problem with those is 4 years is how many days? 365 times 4? I can't do that quick math, but
So here's
You're
my own
Mhm.
personal one is that like I started writing a program like 5 years ago, and
mm, this one.
the end goal of it is that it makes money, but I have no idea if it will be profitable. And every time I like make bigger changes to it, something breaks, and I found out that like my logic was flawed. So like I keep tweaking it, and I never expected that 5 years into this thing I'd be like, I don't
Still
know that
be.
I'm close to being done or not. I just want it to be done, and I have a problem not finishing because I'm a completionist.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
it could be a waste of my time completely and entirely. I've learned things along the way, which is
So
like justifying motivation.
doesn't that doesn't that make you more invested in it? Because now you possibly wasted so much time, and that's a thing of yours. Like you love time, you love using your time effectively. You've sank so many hours into this that now you're like, I have to finish it. Otherwise, those hours were wasted,
Hmm.
which isn't true, but in your mind.
Opportunity cost, yeah. Or like a gambler's
Ah,
fallacy. Like I've lost so many
hell yeah.
times that I'm going to win this time.
I have to keep playing because I lost so much. It's like, whoa, dude, that's not necessarily true. It could be.
And
It also might not.
I wonder if people get set up like that earlier when they're not as keen to like how you
Hmm.
can win and lose. Because if I had let this program run, I would have lost every dime I put into it earlier on because I know it was flawed. But I'm super anal and perfectionist as well. As like I would keep testing it until the point where I thought it was good, and then I'd find a bug that would break it.
Something
So
will break it.
the motivation is the part that's weird for me is that this thing has been there for so long, and when everyone goes to sleep at night, I'm just like, I should
Hmm.
probably finish it, but it's going to take me another few months at least. So I'm just kind of like,
So your Thursday night at like let's say 9 or 10 at night, you're like, I should go work on it, but you know that A, you're not going to finish it that Thursday night. This is just towards the end.
mm-hmm.
If there is an end, how do I get myself to go down and go do it? Is it the same as working out? Like once you set up at the computer, once you actually start doing it, once you stretch those muscles and actually get into it, you're like, I'm already friggin' downstairs. I'm already friggin' logged on. I'm already friggin' got this program running. I'm already testing
Mm-hmm.
this. Let's
Exactly.
just finish the hour. Let's go
Yeah,
for it.
just running the program and like looking at the data, that usually gets me hooked. And
Gets me hooked.
it's gets you into
Gets
it
me.
at
Yeah.
least. You start thinking about it. Your
Yeah.
brain goes to a different space.
Hmm.
That's like, did you listen to the sleep podcast, the JRE one? That was
No, I don't
like
believe I did.
you're like when you sleep, your brain actually has a different chemical composition, so like all possibilities are possible. Like it takes away all the barriers and it allows you to
More
like
open.
rapidly go
It's
through
open.
scenarios. I think the same thing happens when you get into a mode of like exercise or doing a thing that like the chemicals just like change slightly so that you're more not necessarily adept, but you're like more capable of being in it. Like once
Well,
you allow
more
yourself to
capable
like
of
just taste it.
what you're at hand, what you're
Yeah.
doing at hand. You become then totally absorbed with what it is,
Yeah.
whether that's that project you're working out or whatever it is. It's an interesting way to put it, and I think there's a cost to put your brain into that mode that we were touching on earlier. Like you don't want to go running, you don't want to sweat that hard. You just drank too much the day before. Like, what are you doing working out right now? Let's just chill. It's your lunch break. Or hey, we're not going to finish Thursday night. Let's push this back one off. I mean, it's not like it's going to change the outcome ultimately, right? Like, there's that, you have to overcome that no matter what you're doing. And I think motivation, if we come back to motivation, is it external or internal? It's always internal?
So with my career, I guess earlier on I always thought like there was these goals of like, you reach a certain financial level, you own a certain like you own a car, you own a house, you have a family, you have kids, like they can go to daycare, all that shit. Like
Hmm.
you can get to that point and then be like,
I'm done.
I'm done. Like
Momentum.
honestly,
Let's stop the whole machine. Let's stop the whole train. But you can't, can you?
yeah, I have a habit of checking like Slick Deals, and that's a site where it has like reduced prices on certain things, and they pop up
Wait, like
randomly.
computer parts?
Yeah, computer parts, which I almost
Which
always
is
look at.
hilarious because you
I,
you have enough computer parts.
I
You're
have like
fine, but
seven
like
computers.
Just checking on that discount. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sure, I have the RAM. Sure, I have it all, but could I? Oh, that's a
Mm.
great deal.
Yeah.
Mm.
And lately, I've been like, the odds of me clicking on something and actually buying it have been extremely low. Like
Hmm.
it's a habit, and I'm
Sure.
realizing that like my financial needs are like they're not mine. Like the things that would add to my happiness don't involve like a large sum of money, and it's just like security for my family. All the extra money is just like I don't even look at it. So like the motivation for having a job, like what does it
Hmm.
become? It's like I want to add skills, and then after that, like I don't want to be bored. But that ebb and flow, I feel like every couple months, like your body just kind of like says like, are you doing the right thing? Are you moving in the right direction? And you don't know. Like at this point, like I make a decent amount of money and I guess I'm learning skills, so that's good enough. And I sometimes some place in the downward cycle, I go, I wasted my life, and like it's like a depression almost thing, where you like feel like you have to like give up all those things that you like kind of value a little bit in order to like view things differently. It's the same thing when you go to sleep, is that you release all those things that you kind of like cherish a little bit so that you can see things in a different perspective.
Hmm.
And I feel like the ebb and
Open.
flow is there on purpose so that you can reevaluate things and judge, does this matter?
It keeps you rethinking, retooling, reviewing,
Re-reviewing, yeah.
re-reviewing. It's funny you also touched on motivation from like, do I even want to do this? Because I think we've talked about depression before and stuff like that, but that's literally what depression is, right?
Yeah. And I
Kind of like an inability or lack of motivation in all aspects of life. Getting up, showering, like going to work, like calling friends, and it it does take a sort of it's a motivational sucker, right?
I wonder what the duration of depression is.
I think
I
it varies individual to individual, case to case, but I want to say like 3 months to 9 months is where you can be clinically like declared depressed.
trying to find the
Yeah, that's fine.
clinically depressed.
So if you're depressed, like you're so it's it's an inability to motivate yourself. Internally, you can't even get yourself to do something you like. Like we talked about how you kind of have to push through something to get to, hey, listen, it's a little uncomfortable to get up and have to shower and scrub your eyes and wake up and get dressed and do all this. With depression, I feel like you don't even have the energy. Energy is the wrong word, I guess. Energy and motivation seem to tie together, but they're not exactly the same. But like you don't want to do anything. You don't even want to do the things you like. Like you don't want to enjoy things. You don't want to listen to music. You don't want to talk to people. You don't want to socialize. You want to get out of bed. You just like don't want to do anything. It's the ultimate motivation zero. And it's hard to self-propel yourself because now everything's motivation zero. So why bother making yourself a sandwich or whatever? Because you don't even feel like doing bathing. You don't feel like any of this. Good.
So it says to be diagnosed with major depressive disorder, you must
Mhm.
experience at least 5 depression symptoms once a day for at
Hmm.
least 2 weeks.
Oh, it's only 2 weeks? That's
Yeah,
short as hell.
that's what I thought too.
We all got it. I thought it
I,
was like 3 months or something.
yeah, I go through cycles that last 2 weeks, and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, why don't I just like get on a plane, disappear? I'll just live in Tahiti
What
and
are
like,
some of them? What are some
uh,
of them? Just out of curiosity. If they were still up. If not, dude, I'll.
so I have issues with this, but symptoms include being less interested in most activities you once enjoyed, feeling
Hell yeah.
worthless or guilty, often about things that you wouldn't normally feel that way about, and then feeling unusually tired and lacking energy.
Oh, it's just like it's motivation zero, and I think I mean, to tie it all together, we're going to come back to it, I think, but motivation is just momentum. And I think when you come to a complete halt, like this depression,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to get all your shit going. It's hard to spin the tires on your social life when you haven't even spun the tires on your hygienic life, when you haven't even spun the tires on your work life. And to look at all these things you have to spin up and start up and get moving, it's hard. Like you're like, oh, I do this, but I gotta get to this. Oh, but I gotta get to this. Oh, fuck, I didn't even do this. I gotta get out and do this. Fuck, dude. And it's like this weird thing where you think you have to start all these engines and all these things and move all these things, which is it's hard to move something
Yeah.
from a standstill. It's momentum. We talked about this. That's where all the energy is. It's starting it friggin' up.
I've been watching MCU movies, Marvel Cinematic Universe movies,
Hmm.
in chronological order, and
Oh, which order is that? Hold on, like not the release year or the other order?
it's the order in which the movie takes place, the date in which it's
Oh,
supposed to
you're
take place.
doing
Yeah.
whoa, you're going crazy here. I've read about this. Can you give me a?
The
I was
movies
gonna
in the
say a
beginning
breakdown, but
don't
it's
really add up to very much. I feel like they're
really
one-offs, but I
okay.
love the characters and I love the comics and all. I like it. I don't read the comics, but I love the idea of them, which is a
Hmm.
cop out. But
That's cool.
Iron Man, Thor, all those things. Or the point I'm getting to is that I watch that and I say like, there are pieces that I actually genuinely feel and I like and I enjoy, and I wish I could like create those things, but I feel like there's so much involved in like an Iron Man that like it's already been done. These are reasons
Hmm.
why I don't do these things. It's already been done. It would take forever. Like the history of it is like
Hmm.
decades. There's you know Black Sabbath, Iron. There's songs. There's shit.
Yep.
There's shit that's already been like it. I would be like Stan Lee at the end of my life seeing it like maybe coming to fruition, and I would never see it. So like there's so many reasons why I don't like start writing a comic book and like creating a movie and all that stuff, because I don't think it would happen quick enough.
It's interesting because you're exactly right, and this happens with authors a lot. So I was a writer for a lot of my life. Like I wanted to write great novels, sports stories. I wanted to write great think pieces, write the next Emerson or Thoreau piece, like really like break it down. And it's real funny because for the past 10 years, every time I look at a piece of paper or think to write something on Word document, I'm like, whew, that's a lot of writing. Of anything. You're looking at a blank piece of paper and you think, damn, I can't write Lord of the Rings right now. I'm not going to finish it. So we're not going to do it. And I push it off. But if you think about it, I mean, anything, whether it's writing that story or having a great sales career or writing a program that can read stocks and everything, it starts with little pieces that you've done every night at 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. But it's so hard to roll that ball uphill. It's really hard to start it. Starting is the hardest part of anything. And that's where I think what you just touched on, like the author fallacy. Like I can't write a book because or a comic book because I need story and backstory and lore and everything. But if it took you 8 years to write it and you wrote it every day, even just like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you would have backstory and lore and history and revisions and a lot of twists and turns just by nature of time. If you did it for 8 years, friggin' yeah, you would have 8 years of backstory, like you just said, like
Mm-hmm.
the comic. But to start it, fuck, it's, it's
You
got the
probably
time. Like
generate the cheesiest plot line to the beginning and
I'm
just
sure you
like
would, but that's how comics start, aren't they?
yeah.
All cheesy, and then you kind of add twists, and then you add darkness, and then you add like, ooh, from his past, no one thought of this. Like I think it happens naturally. You just have to keep doing something.
Which is kind of it's an interesting perspective to think about, because most people don't think of their life as like a continuous like snowball of growth. And if you were to, instead of take an approach like I'm going to write a book, and instead say like I'm going to create a world and I'm going to add individuals to it as I go along, like each day I'm going to create somebody brand new and unique and put them in this world somewhere that I'll discover later. Like if your whole goal was to create ambiance and environment, eventually the stories would be like ingrained in you
Natural.
and be
It'd be
natural.
natural.
Yeah.
Yes, they would. It's like even something as stupid like playing The Sims or Rome. Those the games where you make the empires, Age of Empires.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't make an empire all at once. You have to add little pieces. Start laying down the groundwork. But it's so what we're talking about. It I don't even know if it's motivation. It's just like something because we experience time in a day to day, second to second, hour to hour.
And
Meaning,
yeah,
like you can't picture years and years spread out that way. It's
your
weird.
objective is also skewed and I guess reduced by your own current person And like you
Sure.
don't know what you'll be if you try to reach that goal. And like by the journey of trying to reach that goal, you become someone different, and hopefully like more breath will be added to you. You
And your
realize that
story
like
for whatever you're doing.
you have more goals, you have different goals, and
Hmm.
they become more varied and more interesting, and you become more alive, I feel.
It's interesting because we're talking about a whole story, whether it's a saga or what Stan Lee created, or Lord of the Rings, writing that whole story. And we look at it like, damn, that's amazing. I mean, if you broke it down to every day he worked on it, every hour he worked on it, every minute he spent revising something or adding something to it, and I'm not trying to be counterproductive, but it's also not that special.
So
And
yeah,
like, I
survivorship
mean,
bias,
yes,
because the stories you
exactly.
see are the best ones.
The ones that took hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and
Yeah.
hours to make. You're not going to see a story that took 4 hours to make and was as big as Lord of the Rings because it looked like shit and it wouldn't come together. It wouldn't come to fruition. It wouldn't be fleshed out. It wouldn't make sense. The one you see is the one that did actually take the hours and did actually put in the work. So I guess what we're getting at right here is that it's not special that the end result is amazing. It's special that someone put in the work. Does that make sense? And actually worked on it for hours and hours and hours and hours.
They had the
When you see a
time and the
virtue,
patience, and
well,
maybe
when
not
you see
even
a
the
virtue,
know-how. They didn't know where they were
no, not at
going.
all. When you see a virtuoso play the violin or whatever, like as someone who plays an instrument, like it's like I look at them and I'm like, wow, that's incredible. They did that. But when you break it down, they literally did boring shit for so many hours that you shouldn't be impressed a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like
If
they
you were
studied
them,
so
you'd
many
just be
things
like,
and
"Ah,
did, yeah,
let's
I
do
did
this again."
this. Oh fuck, I gotta do.
The other part of
But
it
like,
is my motivation for playing guitar is, I guess, is twofold. Is a like I enjoy the melodies that I create, and it's like a little bubble for me. But I think initially it was more that like I want to play the guitar to like impress girls, and then like if I were big and like popular, I would like play in front of people. And like the thing that I don't think is like realizable is that like I'm not a people person. I would love people to like enjoy like watching me play for all of 10 seconds, and I'd be like, this is awkward. I can't do this.
you've run into the thing where I feel like, and I don't know this for a fact, music specialty people would know. I feel like a lot of the '90s guys, like the Nirvanas and the Pearl Jam, the grunge movement,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they weren't big people persons, people performers, and they didn't love performing or anything else like that. But I guess they were so big and so in demand and getting paid so much friggin' money that they probably started with their backs to the audience or doing small concerts and then just got bigger and bigger and got
Heads
so
down,
used to it that yeah,
long hair.
exactly. Yeah, that like you kind of just get used to it. You kind of do what you do, but we always look at things like from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour or zero to completion. It's
Polar,
hard to
yeah.
look at something, yeah, 100%. I don't know.
But I think that's the reason why I don't think I could have been like notable on guitar, because I feel like my motivation was kind of cursed to begin with, because I don't think the people that make it to that level like want to just be famous. Like I feel like they have like a core joy with the guitar or whatever instrument that drives them. It doesn't it's
What
not the
about
other
this
thing.
perfectionism that you
Could be
touched
that
on,
as well.
which you do relate to?
If I had been born a little bit later, I probably would be like a video gamer, like a professional
Like a
gamer.
professional gamer who wants to speed run games and like get 100% on a lot of the accomplishments and achievements and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and then record it, and then damn it, and then do it again, have a better monitor and a better mouse, and then a better this and better recording
Yeah.
software, and then a better processor, and then do it again, and then watch someone else do it, and then do it again. Yeah, you can see
Did you ever
that.
do Mario Kart time trials with the ghost runners? You could ghost run
Your own Ghost
yourself.
Runner?
Yeah. They had a
No.
Nintendo Power where you can get a golden controller if you
Mhm.
had beaten a certain time and the time trial on a certain course.
Hmm.
And I never got the golden controller, but I beat the
Oh, okay.
time, and I think it was like way late. But I remember like trailing myself like 1,000 times trying to beat that time, trying to figure out like every little nuance to that thing.
Yeah.
And that perfectionist element of beating myself was like all I needed. It didn't have to like include other NPCs or carts or whatever or other
It's
people.
interesting. Did you ever get big into NASCAR or anything like that?
No, I hate NASCAR. I feel like it's there's like
That's interesting
if
because
I
I
was
think
the
you would like it.
driver,
I'm
maybe.
telling you. Yeah, well, that's what I'm.
If no,
Do
no,
you
no.
think anyone who likes NASCAR doesn't think of the driver?
Yeah, but
Do you
no.
think they're like, I just love the noise? Well, there's probably some people.
I like
Probably.
I think the what F1 racing is the ones
Mhm.
the like or like even like dirt bikes and stuff. Like there's more to
Sure.
it that I don't think like if I were to pick like a series of racing, I would do something like the crazy ones that are like the dirt and you have the driver just like in a notebook saying like 90 degrees right or like 75 degrees left and then like you're
Oh,
like
interesting.
I think that would be like there's a level of perfection there that you just like
Yeah.
don't see and it's
Yeah.
like it's executed real time with like the foresight that like
Mhm.
other drivers like they probably have it in their mind but to have someone like next to you calling it out it makes it seem like there's no way that one person can possibly like contain all of that information and like display it all at once.
I don't know. I think if you're really golden at racing, I think you can see racing lines in your head and you memorize the course already. So I think the cool thing about racing that you touched on is that you see the path and you just try and find. You mentioned going against your Ghost Rider. Like if you take more of an outside path so that you can cut
Mm-hmm.
inside, like racing lines, where you go outside to cut in and
Mm-hmm.
then inside to cut out, like vice versa. A, because it's cutting down on your trajectory and how much lateral movement there is, and like all these crazy elements that you think of on a living, breathing platform, and how fast you can go, and how much accelerating here costs you and decelerating here. I think some of that would really appeal to you and appeals to me in a weird way where I never was a NASCAR fan, but I think like that's a very much, oh, I can almost feel it, like taste it,
Oh
like
yeah.
racing against yourself,
Oh
racing
definitely.
against this, cutting down that angle, just taking that turn perfect, like gunning out of it and just, oh, forget where I was going.
No, I
Just got
I
caught
feel
up in
that
that
definitely.
racing. Yeah, yeah, okay, cool. I thought you
um
would.
it's a weird thing that like I think there's certain motivations ingrained in us that maybe they're primal, maybe they're like very basic and that like we're just like hunting or we're like trying to like perfect something to like I don't know what you're trying to capture, but it displays itself in these like weird all this technology around us that's just like brand new, and we're just like trying to drive towards something that's like it's not the technology, it's like the drive that was like hundreds maybe thousands of years ago that we're like trying to hunt our food and somehow it relates to driving and making a perfect turn because we see that as like maybe a means of making money versus you know maybe a means of like stability, life, food, all the career.
I think it's perfection.
I feel like the hunters in the past, like if they carried a spear with them, like
Hmm.
they knew exactly like how much that spear weighed, how to throw it,
Yeah,
how sharp it was, how much it was going to
yeah.
penetrate that whatever hog they were
Where to
hunting.
throw it ahead of or behind, or in what
Mm-hmm.
direction to predict where the prey was going to be, where it's going to hit, how it's going to kill the quickest, like the speed, the throw. Isn't that in the 300? He knew how heavy the spear was. He removed his helmet because it obscured his vision. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that's a very tribal, natural thing we're describing here. Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
like when you shoot a bow and arrow, there's people that have like the long bow and like the arrow, what do they call it, like an archer's fallacy or something. Like the arrow doesn't shoot straight; it actually
No.
wobbles, and
Yes. Yeah, you can see it in slow mo because
there's
it's twang. Bow,
uh
bing.
and there's like there was this one guy that was like the sharpshooter that could shoot like shoot like a penny out of the sky, and like
Uh-huh.
he would hit it with a point, but like the thing is wobbling like inches at a time, like
Mhm.
no matter the fact that like he still came near it, he nailed the thing like dead center. It's like it turns out that like he had shot so many arrows that A, he was skilled enough to do it, but B, there's also a science in like the arrows that he picked, so he would like test the
Hmm.
arrows out beforehand, so he knew the oscillation so that he could predict the oscillation when it hit the coin. And it's like to get to that level of like nuance and familiarity and like knowledge, it's just
It's
insane.
so weird though. You keep saying knowledge. It's knowledge is a funny thing, and I think we both describe it
Muscle
as
memory.
yeah, but like I don't think he's thinking of the oscillations at all. I
No.
think he just knows what happens when he lets the arrow fly at a certain angle with a certain twang in his shoulder and he uses a certain arrow. The same way that a driver probably doesn't know any of the angles he's taken on the course or anything like that. He just knows what it feels like when you decelerate at the right time and then when you re-accelerate at the right time and cut your angle and steering wheel. The same way that a super athlete or a musician knows what it feels like when you're finishing a run and you can let ring an open string. Like there's these, it's not, it's such a weird thing because I don't think you think of all the technical stuff you're doing. It's
Hmm.
just muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's such a funny way to say it, but it's a feel. You feel it.
That's the difference
You're in
between like
tune with nature.
it's the difference between like running and then like ice skating and then like turning when you're ice skating and then doing it when you're carrying a puck and then doing it when someone's on your back and doing it when someone's
And
like hooking
chasing
or slashing
someone
you.
when you need to know how much time's left in the
Hmm.
game, and also you're computing whether it's an icing call or not. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about is like a attuneness to nature, like the nature of more things than you. You can feel more than just what you would feel. You can feel your surroundings. You can feel what you're releasing. You can feel what you're controlling. You're driving, and I think that's a thing that you should strive for. And
There's also a piece to it that I feel like you can't when your brain is fully engaged in something, like you disengage the memory portion, like the hippocampus doesn't like record it, and you're just sensing, like you're not trying to
it's
like
100% because
observe something.
100% of your sensory is being. It's just yo. I'm on go. I'm using all the power here in the brain to this part. I agree. It's not like looking back at it and being like, ah, that was an interesting turn. Ah, yes, excellent. Good job, chap.
You're fully thinking about what's coming.
You're not even thinking. You're fully reacting, I guess,
Yes, yes.
at that point. I agree. So, how this ties into motivation is that I feel like you can't just be at one with nature. You can't just be at one with doing these things. You have to push through something. You have to force yourself to do them. You have to
I also
get
feel
there.
like most of these things are like they're the stuff we've been talking about is athlete
Mhm.
related, and
Mhm.
like the prime for athletes is in their 20s. So at what point do you realize that like, oh, I won a gold medal as a gymnast, but you know now I have the body of a 30-year-old. What does that 30-year-old body do? It's like I can't, like maybe I can do shows and stuff, but like my motivation is already gone because I've achieved that goal. It's like when you
What
achieve a
about
goal,
like
what do you do?
so? I'll ask you, Simone Biles, right? When
Yep,
she's 34, she's probably like what, 24 right now? I have no idea.
mid 20s or something. Yeah, I'll look her up.
Yeah. What's she gonna do at 34, 35? And I guarantee you it's gonna be in gymnastics, and she's going to be doing ridiculous shit I could never do, and
True.
be in ridiculous
Still,
shape.
yeah.
And oh, 100%. But she will never be that good again. So what? How does she? Does she do it just because she's been doing it her whole life, and because she's better at it than anyone at her age? Let's say 30. Let's say she's 38. She's still doing it. She's not like, oh, I'm done. I'm going to be an accountant. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know how you like you have to realign your goals and then somehow not weigh them against what you've already done. I guess that's
You
the
can. I mean, do you become a coach, I guess, so that you try and instill?
vicariously live through your players, your people.
Guess is that what all coaches do? I don't know.
I wonder like who's the most successful person? Like who has achieved it all? Like I don't
Well, the
know.
MJ documentary just went around. Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, The Last Dance. I've only seen the first one.
So he's achieved it all in like a basketball sense. I thought like a Kobe Bryant maybe. Like he achieved a lot and then he became kind of like passed away too soon, but he started getting into businesses and like community and all sorts of stuff, like different styles of
He
motivation.
did, and he's more successful in that sense. But MJ was basketball, and I'm not going to get into the whole basketball argument because just it's like the Wayne Gretzky argument. Has anyone even gotten close to Wayne Gretzky's
He's a
numbers?
terrible coach. Yeah.
Well, for do you know why?
Well,
He's such a goddamn good player.
there's no way you can relay his information because
No,
it's
can you
just
imagine if he was just like, just go and score? And it's like, how do I score, coach? He's like, just You just go out and you do 40 dekes and you do this and you do this. You move, you see where the every player is, and you know where every player on the ice is, and you know where every aspect on the ice is, and you know how quick someone can get to this point, and how quick your puck can move to this point, and you do the math. You imagine telling Craig Berube that or something like if you're Coach Wayne Gretzky and he's like, huh? Like you know what I mean? Like he's just like, huh? You can't relay that information because it's not. It's learned. It's physical. You had to earn that.
So what happens when you're past your peak? Like your motivation for, like if you don't achieve your goal and you know you're past your peak and it's faded, I feel like there's a bunch of people that just stick to that goal and say screw it. Like I've led my life and this is how I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna go
You
out
got
doing the
38
same
year old
thing.
who wants to still play football or something,
It's
or
like yeah, like what Mickey Rourke, was it Mickey Rourke who did the wrestler? And
yeah,
he's
he did the
still
rest.
like slapping his arms and like he's cutting meat in the deli and he's pretending like he's getting like cheers.
See, we're running into a weird thing where I feel like those people aren't necessarily motivated by it so much as I
They're
think I read a
entrenched.
quote on motivation. Yeah, yeah. Well, they can't go do something else. So I read a really cool quote on motivation that was to do with pain. All right, Jameer, what's his name? Scientific guide on how to get motivated and stay motivated. Who cares? Here we go. What is motivation exactly? Author Stephen Pressfield, in his book The War of Art. Wow, great name, dude. The Art of
Hard
War.
of work.
Get it? Yeah. At some point, the pain of not doing something becomes greater than the pain of doing it. And
Right.
that's what motivation is. And it makes total sense. So
Mm-hmm.
the pain of someone to keep doing something that maybe they're not great at is easier than the pain of trying something totally new. Like the wrestler, Ricky Moore.
Mickey
Mickey
Rourke.
Moore. Ricky Mork. Like
Morgan Mindy.
it's actually wouldn't it be harder for him to try and learn Cobalt and coding
Mm.
than it would for him to just continue to be mediocre at wrestling? Like you know what I mean? Right?
Might be financially beneficial. I felt this way.
Might be,
Yeah,
might be.
might be. I felt this way when I spent 10 years working for a company and I had experience like a bunch of positions and I said, you know, I could milk this thing for the rest of my life. Like I could make a pretty good salary and just keep it going. And I thought, that's not an exciting life. It's like I already know what the next 20 years would bring and I don't necessarily want to live like the known life, the path that I'm familiar with. So
Mhm.
I said, okay, I tried this other job, and then I switched it up, and I said, okay, well, I learned something, and I know I don't like this, so I switched it up
Switch that
again.
again.
And I think I would keep doing that. Like I would keep like jumping into situations where it's like, oh, learn something brand new, and like suck the life out of it for like a year or two, and then just like, say,
Not for
okay,
me.
I helped you or I didn't, and let's move on. And I
Do
feel
you?
like you grow more people, you learn more things, and you become more varied as a person.
I think that's very hard to do, and it's like motivational. I think you do a good job at it. But here's a real question for you: do you think like eventually you're gonna find one? You're like, this is it. I love this.
No,
Honestly, isn't that crazy?
I feel like
I don't disagree with you.
the positives and negatives are different with every job, and it depends.
Mhm.
Like there's a point where I like just starting out, I said, like, oh, this is so easy, and they don't care about what I do, and I make enough, and like there was points where like I had 50% of my time where I didn't have to do jack shit because there's no expectations. And now they pay me more money, so there's more expectations, and like most of these places are like they exact more from you, and it's like you'll never get that peace of mind of being like a fresh intern or college student just out graduated where it's like, okay, this is not like this is a piece of cake, like I don't have to do very much to excel. And then also being in your element, like what part of human
Mhm.
motivation is to be social and be friendly, and like when if you actually push yourself to be like above other people or be like stronger, whatever the quote of like an alpha male, like whatever that mold would be, you push yourself away from people. And if you're paid a lot and you have specialized skills, you can never be on the same level as people unless you're in like some sort of like elitist group, which I
Yeah.
don't like being elitist. So it's like difficult to be like at the
Yeah.
same level of your peers and like have that group and like the social aspect of a job because other people either always look up to you or down on you, or they have like other pieces of their
What
personality
would
that just don't fit.
you do if you were like a delivery guy for Amazon
That's the weirdest
and
thing.
made like a third of what you make now?
I don't know how I could live with myself like that. I feel like that's a terrible thing to say because there's plenty of
Oh
people that
well,
do that.
yeah,
I guess I'd be comfortable like with my own little bubble. Like you have your own little truck and you're doing something for other people, and that's like the extent of the happiness that like some people get. But I feel like I need to be doing something else. Like I don't think that would be the end. I hope it would be the end.
well, because I sometimes think of quitting this job and being a delivery guy for the rest of my life because I think it would make me happy. But what do you want to do? I'm confused. Do you want to be create software that would change people's lives or what?
My motivations are
Like,
kind of strange because like there's a personal
yeah,
one
I'm
where I want to
curious.
like have nothing to do with anybody else whatsoever. Or I'm free financially and I don't have any
Sure,
like
of course.
requirements, no needs.
Money glider, money
Yeah.
glider. I understand. I
Yeah.
understand.
So there's that level of it that's like selfish, but I don't think I'd be happy doing that. I think there's like a thing about growth and technology and being like knowledgeable about that and being like up with it, like being aware of the new stuff that's coming out. And then there's like base drive of like me going on slick deals and looking at computer parts. Like I don't need any of that, but I feel like something like I could like I like almost buying a new hard drive. Like I could like a feel there's a joy there that I just can't like.
Especially at the price you saw it at.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand.
I
Of
like
course.
there. What I don't get why I feel that way about it, but maybe there's a reason why. Maybe the motivation is there because there's like some sort of like fate associated with me like driving towards something that I just don't know.
Is it weird that I think of you as like a robot that may or may not like inhibit most of your joy from like finding the best deal or finding the best way to complete a task or finding the easiest best way to complete a task
I
that
could
has the
spend 20 bucks
greatest
more and just
return?
get it now and be like just as happy.
Yeah, like you find your joy from finding the best way to complete a task and finding the greatest return on that task. And
Yeah,
that's not that that's you, but that's like you would love to do that day after day. You're
it's
like, listen,
strange,
I
isn't it?
found a new way to do it. I found a new way to do it. And someone's like, well, what are you talking about? And you're like, we're gonna save 18%. And you're just leaning into the microphone, licking your lips and being like, it's a deal. Like that's like, woof, you're thrilled. I don't know.
I think so. I feel like I did have that piece of me that I just don't understand. But like it's
Well, like
there and there's no
you're trying
really.
to win. It's gamemanship. We touched on it before. Like
Yeah.
you want to win. You want to beat something. You want to get ahead of something. So I mean, I respect that. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Interesting. So let's go back to motivation in general. Fuck, there was one. There was one big thing of motivation that we totally left out, and I forget what it was because I was just thinking of it for the past 10 minutes, and then I lost it. Motivation. Oh, what you touched on. So your wife wanted to like hire someone to motivate you. Someone can someone else motivate you? Like, there's like that's a multi-million-dollar industry. Like the Tony Robbinses and like all these motivational speakers you can go see. Like, I know how you feel about them. I know how I feel about them. I know how we really feel about them. But like, is there a chance that motivational speakers, can actually motivate people? And is that bad?
I feel like more like I'm gonna say they're gullible, but I feel like more
Okay.
people
I
are
don't disagree.
swayed. A majority of people are swayed by what they hear because, for whatever reason, they don't like value their own logic.
Well, or do they want an easier, quicker way that they didn't think of? Kind of
Hmm.
what you do enjoy, right? A thing you enjoy.
Yeah, I guess if there was an easy way to get my fix of like making me feel like I'm
Yeah.
doing the right thing,
And like cheating
yeah,
time
yeah,
and getting greater
he's gonna give me
returns,
all
you
the
would love it.
secrets. He's gonna unlock this piece of
Correct.
me that's been hidden.
Well, whether or not it's bullshit or not, we weren't going to say, but that is it's like maybe it's people chasing after what you kind of enjoy,
Hmm.
right? And they're just doing it because they can't figure out one way out themselves. And they're like, this guy is really convincing. This guy's really. How is he convincing? Also, I want to talk about that. Like,
I feel like this is
These
like New
motivational
Year's
speakers.
goals, like
Yeah.
resolutions. Like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
why even like why like where are you
All of a
like
sudden,
you're going
July,
off in left field,
January
like trying
1st,
to figure out
baby.
a goal.
They're here and they're like, you can earn more money. There's like always like stamps and noises and cadence. And then there's always like, rule one, no more sugar, no red meat. It's like the Requiem for a Dream, three rules. What is it? What's
Stop
his name
looking at
does?
their shoes. Oh wait, I don't know. What's the Requiem for a Dream rules?
Uh, Gunner from Happy Gilmore. He has the motivational thing. Do Requiem for a Dream. I don't remember his real name. Shooter McGavin. Shooter
Shooter
McGavin.
McGavin.
Yeah, he
Oh
has like a motivational thing that runs through the whole thing, and I love
yeah,
it. It's like
yeah. And that movie had
no
the most
sugar.
cuts of any movie.
I
Like
did notice you
yeah,
posted that. Good
mm,
call.
yeah.
I always love that movie, and part of me is like, it's not because I'm a film school boy, but like also it is, but also it's a good movie. It's a great movie. No red meat, no sugar.
I don't know
Did you
what the
hear?
rules are. I can't find it. There's too much crap.
Darren, that's fine. That's fine. Darren Aronofsky, the director for Requiem for a Dream. Do you know what he made all the actors do? Not all of them, but I think the Wayne's brother. I think it's Marlon and what's his name? 30 Seconds to Mars. You want
Oh
up us, ma?
yeah, I don't know what that guy's name is.
Anyway, he had them both cut out sugar in its entirety for like 30 days, so they would understand what cravings feel like.
Hmm. Jared Leto.
Yeah, Jared Leto. Yeah, isn't
Leto.
it
Leto.
Leto? Whatever.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
fucking I
Who
don't know.
cares?
Either way,
Yeah,
he like
but that's. Have you ever given up any food, diet, meat? Have you ever given up
not like
meat?
100%. Not like no, not like I've like cut back on stuff. I've never given anything up.
Your body does weird things when you're like you cut something entirely. You don't like
Oh,
wean off.
I did the lentil soup diet. So it's
Oh,
like split pea soup. You hear
gross.
that diet?
No.
You're allowed to eat as much split pea soup or whatever kind of pea soup it is as you want, but otherwise there's 7 days. It's like a fast and a cleanse. Day one is like you can eat sausage and something. Day two is like no meat. You can only eat bananas. Day three is like you can eat oatmeal and this and regardless of what it is, it's 7 days where you have to only eat certain foods in those days. I've done that diet twice, and it changes your poops big time, and
You have
B,
the
it
snake
made
coming
me
out. You see that guy like you have like the intestinal lining that comes out.
the parasite. It's like, where's all the
Yeah.
food? And you
Purge
grab
your
it.
body of
Yeah.
toxins. You sinner.
But yeah, but yeah, if you do weird stuff to your body, same thing happens to your mind though. Like what I was just touching on the motivational speaker guys. I'm telling you, the reason they're successful is because they tell you to, hey, cut out this, don't do this, and something weird happens to you. Like anytime you break outside your habit bubble, anytime you break outside of what you're used to doing, you're going to find weird results, right?
Yeah, you
Good or
might
bad.
find something positive if you move outside your bubble.
You
You
might.
might
I
you
mean, you
might
also do weird.
falsely claim that the motivational speaker led you there.
That's what I was getting at. So I'm not saying the motivational speakers are correct or incorrect, just that they're telling you to try something totally crazy, do something wild, change your life. And if you change your life and do something wild, different things happen. And then they're like, wow, the
Oh my
motivational speaker did that
goodness.
to me? Not necessarily. I mean, you did change your life. You did it. Motivational speaker did not do it. You literally changed your life for a speaker, sure. So I think sometimes they're useful. The same way that like gym instructors or someone that your
Trainers, yeah.
wife may or may not want to pay money for. Sometimes people need that. Sometimes people can use that and it motivates them. It's someone else telling them to, hey, get in shape. Hey, lift this. Hey, do this. And if that voice wasn't there, maybe they wouldn't.
Yeah. Hey, study programming for 10 years and just waste all your life. You'll get there eventually. Or not. I'm not sure.
He wouldn't say it like that. He had more energy in his voice.
Rule
He'd
number
say it
one, never
definitely
stop.
changes.
Even if it's not valuable. And no one cares.
Null, void, and just go back and change the code. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Your parents will be so proud of you if they were
Hmm.
alive by the time you finished.
So how do we want to sum up
Wrap
motivation
it up.
here? What do we got here? What do we got?
What I don't know. I don't know. Find your own motivation. It's in you. It's there. You probably have a bunch of stuff that you have to do, and you gotta get that done. Try to do it faster. Make yourself a little bubble of time, and I guess meditate. And one of the things is like
Oh, we did say that.
relaxation and just like allowing yourself to think whatever and just like easing out of whatever you're
Hmm.
in. Maybe it allows you to flow into something else, and you figure it out, and you go, "Hey, let's try this." Maybe it sucks. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe life is about experiences.
Hmm.
Maybe the meaning of life is finding meaning.
Interesting. I like it. I like it. Last thing I'll say on the subject is that it's all momentum. Everything. You want to friggin' stop drinking? You want to stop working a job you suck? You want to stop, I don't know, going bowling every Wednesday? Just stop. I know it sounds like I'm saying a sentence that's pretty easy, and it's really hard, Nick. You have no idea. It's like, I understand how hard everything is. Changing momentum is the hardest part. Once you change momentum, whether it's stopping a bad habit, stopping something you do every day, just friggin' do it. It's painful, it's hard to push through, but once you do, change the momentum the other way. Start doing something else. Start doing something that you don't do. And when you do it 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, 5 days in a row, holy shit, it's way easier now. Yeah, it's momentum.
4 easy
Motivation's
payments of $29.99. Buy my CDs now. Unpanders. Go to unpanders.com.
unpanners.com, and we will get you to change whatever the hell you want.
We will tell you
I've
if it's a
quit
good
smoking.
idea or a shit
Check this one
idea.
out. I
Most of
quit
them are
smoking.
shit. Just expect it. Move
Do you
past
know how I
it.
quit smoking? You know how I quit smoking?
I apologize. Why you should have never picked it up.
Oh yeah, of course not. But my last job, it was like easy. I just stopped buying packs, and I was like, oh,
Simple.
I want one. I want one. I just stopped buying. Guess what? When
Done.
you don't have them, it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, during the pandemic, I also smoked occasional cigarettes, so I picked it back
Stop
up.
buying
But
junk
whatever.
food. Oh, that's terrible too. How could you do that? Damn it,
I don't know.
Nick. God damn it, Nick.
I know. I know. So
Well,
what it is just stop or just keep doing it. Just do it or just don't. We've said it all here,
yeah.
folks. It sounds easy. It sounds hard. It's both. Just do it. Brought to you by Unpander slash Nike slash anything you buy is coupon code 8% off.
Well, we like it.
Thanks, folks. Check out all our socials.
Yeah,
Do
whatever.
all our
Whatever you want
things.
to do.
Oh, we
Can't motivate
friggin'
you.
love it.
It's okay.
Just click it. Just click it. We like you, folks. We like you.
A lot. Good night.
Thanks.